Come on, 2, 3.
Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Wednesday, February 16th, 2022. And our top story today, how inflation impacts your retirement savings. Joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, George Grombacher is the Chief Community Officer for Money Alignment Academy. George, great to see you again. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Always fun and a pleasure to be with you, Jeff.
Oh, it's my pleasure, buddy. It's always great to have you. My former podcast co-host when we first launched the podcast 4 years ago. So it's always great to connect with you. George, inflation running rampant, dampening consumer prices going up, dampening purchasing power, but it has a real impact on retirement savings. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's what we've been living through before, right around the time that I was born, has been really unique. You can remember that in the 80s, 1981, you could get a CD for 18%, but that was about the last time that had happened. And then CD rates and fixed income has just been going down, down, down. The stock market's been going up, 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 up. So it's sort of always presented unique challenges for those folks who are not accumulating, but they're interested in using more conservative fixed income type investments to retire. And now we find ourselves, or they specifically find themselves, in an environment where they're almost forced to be taking on more risk or pay that sort of hidden tax, whatever you want to refer to it as, that inflation is assessing on all of us, but certainly people who are not in a position to, or they do not want to, have to take on more risk. But if you are in that position, you might have to say, okay, maybe it's increased the amount of exposure I have with equities, or maybe I should be looking at commodities. Either way, it's not an enviable situation.
Yeah, and just to remind the audience, George, retirement savings not adjusted for inflation. Social Security is, but that's a completely different animal, one that we're not going to tackle here. If you are thinking about retirement, so you're a pre-retiree, you're thinking about retirement, what are some of the things you should be thinking about? Like, for example, should you be thinking about, can't talk this morning, guaranteed income products, annuities, annuity-like vehicles in order to draw down that balance in a reasonable way?
Well, that's the common thinking on all of that, I don't think is necessarily all that helpful. And I always am reticent to parrot talking points, not that that's what you're asking me to do, but the traditional approach to it of, 60-40 portfolio while we're saving money. And now, okay, how do I take the money that I saved and turn it into income that will last for as long as I need it to? Those are really, really tough conversations. I think that using a guaranteed income type product makes a ton of sense. And we really need to factor in what's going to happen if I live a lot longer than I expect to. Because if I'm retiring at 65 or 70 years old, but I live till 90, 95, 100, that is a massive amount of time. And you think about what inflation is going to do, or what it normally does over a 10-year period, let alone 20 or 30 years. I think that we really do need to be thinking a portion that I was thinking would be more conservative probably needs to be allocated to something which is a little bit more aggressive, just to hedge against the fact that I'm probably going to be invested for longer than I think.
George, you talk to plan sponsors of large retirement plans. Are you hearing that people are delaying retirement? Because to your point, if you have a retirement of 35 years, that's almost as long as your professional life if you started working at 20, 22 years old. I mean, it's close, right? 40, 45 years, I mean, it's relatively close. Are you hearing that people are thinking about delaying retirement, pushing off? And do you actually have to look at timing it in a way, timing your window? As you mentioned, we had a bull market. We've had a bull market for a long, extended bull market for a period of time. Is it more about timing and delaying?
Yeah, I have all these clients that have a whole stock room full of gold watches that they bought years ago for retirement, and now nobody's retiring, so they just hold on to those. It's an interesting phenomenon, and I think that we are seeing people working a lot longer because we know the numbers that people just have not saved enough money. So are people waiting, and then are they looking to time the market? I think that it's a perfectly human and normal thing to really think that way and to say, okay, I really want to make sure that I do this at the right time. But nobody knows exactly when that is and when this is going to happen. I think that the majority of the public, including me, has been waiting for a correction to come for years and years and years, and it just hasn't really come necessarily. So to be in a situation where I'm legitimately thinking about retiring, and there are people who are retiring right now, I'm making a joke. It is a tricky time. There's no two ways about that, and you do need to take a very integrated approach to looking at the retirement. So thinking about what my lifestyle is going to look like, where I'm going to live, how I'm going to be spending my time, and obviously what I'm going to be invested in. What combination of a guaranteed income stream am I going to be able to get? What percentage, and how am I going to invest money in a brokerage account? All of those things need to be taken into consideration.
And let's not forget the budget. I think you're insinuating or mentioning the budget, right? I mean, whether you're a pre-retiree or a retiree, you have a fixed budget. You know what you're going to earn. Maybe that goes down, or that will go down if you're not working anymore. So whether you are a pre-retiree or a retiree, now's the time to really think about that budget and what's the priority. And again, I don't want to go back to the Starbucks. Let's cut out the Starbucks, or let's cut out this, or going out to dinner, just make it once a week, because I think that probably isn't the right mindset. Denial is not the right mindset. But honing in and focusing on what's important and looking at your budget is a great thing to do as a pre-retiree as well as a retiree.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Life is all about prioritization. And I've been thinking a lot about this really as of late, and we need to be better stewards of how we're spending all of our important resources. And whether you are in your working years, if you're looking at retirement, or you're in retirement, I think it's always a valuable exercise to go through that and say, okay, I'm sort of doing what I'm doing, and I am currently prioritizing the way that I am, but maybe I should just pause, take a step back, and reassess why I am spending money the way that I am, or why I'm spending my time the way that I am, why I'm giving my attention to the things that I'm giving it to. I think that that's a healthy exercise for everybody to do.
Yeah, and George, we saw a lot of people save during the pandemic. Now they're spending again, and if people don't spend their money, there's a causality that happens. If people don't spend their money, everyone just saves. That's not good for the economy. So again, it's a balancing act. I think we all have to recognize that, and it's not about denial. George, I want to take a quick break. When we come back, retirement savings portability is as vital as ever. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms? Especially for the smaller businesses. I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33
Yeah.
years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you stuck with a low credit score? A credit report and score that's causing you to be denied credit or pay higher interest rates than others for the same things? Then do what Terrence did and call Credit Repaired for your free credit evaluation to help restore your credit.
I started thinking about buying a new house, and my score wasn't where I needed it to be. I called and spoke with one of the representatives, and we just had a good conversation, and I liked what he was saying.
Just one call for his free credit evaluation was all it took to start back on the track to repairing his credit.
I'm seeing the deletions and I'm getting the report, so I know something's being done. It does make a difference to me.
All it takes is one call to get started.
Credit Repair has given me a second chance to have a better credit score.
Don't let a low credit score hold you back another day. Do what Terrence did and make the call for your free credit evaluation.
Call 800-819-4152. That's 800-819-4152. Again, 800-819-4152.
Welcome back. We're talking this morning to George Grombacher of Money Alignment Academy. George, thanks so much for staying with us this morning.
Yeah, it's always fun to be here.
Okay. I don't know if you heard about this thing. It's called the Great Resignation. And so there are currently more jobs available than workers, and people are, by all accounts, if you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Fed, whatever data you look at, people are leaving their jobs in masses. So what does this mean for retirement savings portability? If I leave my job over here, my 401k is over here, and I go to a new job, portability seems to me pretty important.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And there's so much going on there. I think that a lot of folks don't understand how 401ks work, that they are in fact portable, that oftentimes all the money, at least most of it that you put in, is always going to be your money that you can take with you. So I think that there's an overall misunderstanding about how you can move your qualified accounts around. And one of the we talked about inflation being sort of a hidden tax. One of the taxes to moving jobs quite a bit is if there is some kind of a waiting period for you to enroll in a plan, you may find that if you are not ever satisfying that, you never get started in your retirement plan. And we know that money has an opportunity cost to it. And every year that I wait and do not put money into a 401k or an IRA, it gets more and more and more expensive, because through the wonder that is compound interest, the longer I have to retire, the better it is. The longer that I have to save, rather, the better it is. So I think that there are a lot of challenges, and I'm super excited for people. It's amazing to me that the statistics that so many people were quitting their job. It's like, my goodness, these people must all be independently wealthy, or they really made those stimulus checks go a lot further than certainly than I expected. So the whole thing is, for lack of a better term, baffling to me.
Yeah. George, one of the biggest challenges in the retirement system, as you said, is if you move jobs and you become a missing participant. And that just means that your address over here was not updated at your old company, and therefore you lose track of that. And in an era where people don't have enough savings, it would seem to me that it would behoove all of us, or behoove the individual, to make sure that their address is updated, or look to roll over that money to our retirement plan, the new retirement plan. Not talking well.
Yeah, there are actually companies that have popped up, which all they do is go and track down old retirement accounts. And that's also a very, very human thing to do. We all have a lot on our minds, and tracking down an old plan is not necessarily the most exciting thing. But like everything else in personal finance, Jeff, it requires that someone be in charge and be holding on to the wheel, because if nobody is doing it, well, then nobody's going to be paying attention to it. And so making sure that we are taking ownership and personal responsibility for where our money is, what drawer, what payments did I leave that 401k in, making sure that, okay, that's right, it's over there. I wonder if it's okay if I can leave it over there. Sometimes I can, a lot of the times I can't, but why wouldn't I roll it into either my new company's 401k plan or transfer it into an individual retirement account? I think that the more we can take a more active role and be responsible for it, the better. But that's an obvious statement.
All right, George. So we all know that moving money from one record keeper to another can be challenging. You got to have paperwork for company A, you got to have paperwork for company B, and you actually have to be a logistics expert oftentimes to facilitate the movement of money. If you're moving companies, you're transferring a 401k or 403b to a new company, should that be automatic? Should it be portable so that you don't have to, automatically portable, so you don't have to fill out this paperwork, this 12 pages of paperwork, read the special tax notice, get the check and send it over?
Yeah, for sure. It's fascinating because I am one of those people that's been working in the space for 20 plus years at this point. I know that that's hard to believe, Jeff. And it's the same for you.
Well, you look like you're about 20.
I know.
Feel like
I'm about 50. Yes, it's always been
I have that effect
way too complex. I mean, the paperwork alone, it's like I look at it and it's gotten better, but for sure. But I think it would take an act of Congress to probably change that. But whatever it is, however we can move or remove friction from people getting access to their money in the correct way so that they're not just cashing out accounts and paying penalties and taxes, and make it as smooth and easy as possible, I don't understand why we wouldn't do that.
Well, I think I agree with you. We need to remove pain and friction points. But remember, moving money from one record keeper to another oftentimes means liquidating funds in a plan that pay revenue. Could be paying revenue if they use revenue share or something, or they're using the particular fund and moving to the new company. So I'm not sure that there's complete buy-in, but I think automating that process makes a lot of sense and would help facilitate people not losing their accounts. But I think we're going to be talking about this one for a while. George Grombacher, always great to see you. Appreciate your insight, and we look forward to having you back on the program again very soon.
Thanks, Jeff.
That wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the latest news in lifestyle, wellness, finance, tech, so much more, and all in one place, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Want to search our archives or see our latest content? Well, check out our website. That's www.broadcastretirementnetwork.com. And of course, our streaming partners, Amazon, Roku, Samsung, and over 100 more. We're back again tomorrow. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes. Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the first lifestyle and wellness network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a tax doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.